Hello, everybody. This is Trader Max Farrow from DexFXMarkets.com. Getting started here to trade here in just a little bit. Running a little bit late. Trying to get here about 7 o'clock hour, but we are here now. What we're going to be using is our Nadex account, and of course our, let's see if I can find it. Yep, you got it. Our proprietary TNT signal system as well. So let's jump right in. We're going to jump into right over to the signals page. You can kind of see I'm working on the page here. I'm going to go to I'm going to be using the 1 hours first, just to kind of go through because we had some signals fire off. I've checked the news. Let's check the news again just to make sure. We got a little bit of news happening in about 20 minutes for the Audi, but it's only two bull. I'm not really worried about it unless I'm trading the 5 minutes here in a few, but I won't be trading into the Audi at that line. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through the charts. Let's look at the signals themselves. USD, JPY. In fact, you know what I'm going to do is that I'm going to switch between the two screens. I'm not going to switch between the two screens. I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab this one right here. I'm going to smack it. I'm going to put it right there, just like that. So I can just go back and forth just like that. So you guys can see that happening. Just going back and forth from one screen to another, right? Very easy. Okay. USD JPY on the sell, 107.08 on the sell. Let's go over and see the USD JPY 108. I got to refresh because I was on earlier. Forex binaries, USD JPY. We're looking at the 8 o'clock expiry, and we're looking at 107.08 on the sell, 107.08 on the sell. Doesn't look like it has very much money on it because it's already moved down about 10 pips. We will put one contract on, and I will be putting it on for $25 and hit place order. And that'll give us our working order because that's a nice, good, solid signal. USD JPY, if I isolate that variable here, doing it like this, you'll see that it's sitting at 84%. That's okay. I'm going to scroll down here now to the DPC and look at the success rate of it. Excuse me one second. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm going to refresh that page. There we go. All right, if I scroll down, it's going to take a second for it to propagate. Now, what we have is our data processing center. I go down and use on the 1 hour signals monthly. I'm looking at the Audi JPY sitting at 8 o'clock at night, or USD JPY, sorry, sitting at 8 o'clock at night, and we have to see how well does it do. Now, it only does about 87% overall in the last month. I don't really dig that too much because we could run into an issue with that. I'll keep it on there, and if I see too much volatility in it, I might jump out. But I'm really looking for ones that have 100% success on the monthly period. Just makes me feel better knowing that I can kind of get into that rate. But let's go over and now validate lastly with some chart action. We're going to hit the USD JPY. And what we're looking for, because we're in a sell, we want to make sure that we meet all the agreements of a good TNT, which is a trade, finding the trend, looking for some negation. We got some negation right there in a trade. So this is a pretty good trade. This is a soup to nuts trade, which looks pretty good, about halfway through a good trend back down to the other side. This might be something that we could also come in at 107.00. Let's see what that's on, about 107.00. That looks pretty good too, okay? Because jumping over the 104 or 04 may be a possibility. This one looks pretty good because it's sitting at 37, 38 bucks, but we do got some power. We got about 45 minutes left. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put that one on and hit place order. I'm going to immediately go into the market. Now, why did I alter that process? Well, I do have a few things, right? At the 01 area, 00 is a very powerful indicator of a support, okay? So we might come back up and test a little bit. We might even come back up to the 107, 102 area, but I think we're going to end up south of that 107 margin there, okay? So I think that's a pretty good indicator for that, and we shall see. Let's go down to the other signals there. I'm going to steer away from the other Euro JPY, the other JPY, and I'm going to look at the Euro USD, and that's sitting at 1.0957 on the buy. Now that's pretty good because it's the opposite value of that sell. That's why I'm going with it to be looking at that Euro USD on the buy. So let's jump over to the site. So 0957 on the buy. Euro USD, we're looking at the 8 o'clock expiry. Boom, right there. Boy, I have a bad time with numbers tonight. 0957, 0956. That looks pretty good. We might be able to, if I do a market order. That's $21. I want to kind of put one contract on, but before I do that, I got a second or two here. I'm going to scroll down and look at the Euro USD on the monthly and find my 8 o'clock hour. I'm right here, which is 2000, 8 o'clock hour. I did that wrong too. I did 8 o'clock in the morning this morning earlier on. The USD is sitting at 100%. USD JPY is sitting at 100%. You guys should have told me. It's been a long day. I'm very tired. But the Euro USD is also sitting at 100%. So I think I got a pretty good deal with that. Sitting at 100%. So I think I'm pretty good with that. So what I'm going to do is see if that, I don't know if that's going to bounce around for a minute. I'm going to come back down here and I'm going to put down for 2 contracts. That's going to amend my order for a 25 because if it does get bought, it's got a very, very high rate of success to be able to win at that point. I'm not going to add any extra contracts in on this one because this is sort of a push. Just see if we can get something to happen. If we do burn out, then it's at least 2 trades to kind of get that money back anyway, sitting at 67 or a $37 profit on it. So I'm looking pretty exciting at that. Okay, Euro USD, so 0956, also sitting at that. We're going to stay on the buy. I would like to be one at $22 at that one. I'm going to do 2 on that contract. So that's 78 on the buy, and we're going to go ahead and place order. And hopefully we can get bought up on that. It has to get down to $78 for it to be bought at that point. And we got about an hour left there. Now, what I'm going to do, since I've already looked at the signals that have popped off, I could look at the Euro JPY, but I don't like to have too many, the JPY or 2 of them on there. The 2 euros is okay with me, but or 2 USDs are all right, but not the 2 euros and not the 2 JPYs. From that point. Now, here's the thing: if the USD doesn't increase, we could end up losing both of them. But at this point, I'm okay with that 100% success. Let me look down at the Euro JPY and see where it is as well on the monthly. Scroll back over Euro JPY. Let's scroll all the way over to the 8 o'clock. It's sitting at 50%. So no bueno anyway. Wouldn't be doing it. No thank you. Bye-bye. Doesn't really tolerate that time period too well. In fact, we could probably do an opposite trade at that point and have just as much luck, sitting at 50%, right? All right, so let's get into looking down the line. We're going to go down the pipeline, which we call it here on the charts. We're going to simply go down the solution here. We're going to look at the AUD USD. But this is folding on with 2 bull news here. Sitting real flat. We're not going to do that. AUD JPY on the sell. Possible, but no signal. So we're not going to do that. Euro Great Britain Pound. It's a heavy trend down, getting to exhaustion, popping back over. It might end up, if it goes above this line right here where I'm at, we might end up here at this line right here. We might end up having a buy signal come up later on that we could get into, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. Euro JPY, Euro USD, we're going to look at Great Britain Pound JPY. Let's look at that. We do have a possible good run here because we're breaking down this lower point, even though we've had a pretty big shooting star here. I think we wouldn't probably be able to get into this. This is sitting off about 20 pips, so we wouldn't be able to get into that one right now anyway. But we could bounce off of this 030, that's 130.75 at this level, keeping that's a nice little good resistance level now. From that level right there. So that could be something 130.73. Let's look at that. What was that? The Great Britain Pound JPY. Great Britain Pound JPY. But again, not all pairs have their intradays. I should have known that right off the bat. I do apologize. Again, another late night. we're doing pretty good on the USD JPY. We're in some good money. Again, I don't scalp out because these numbers are made up. And what I mean by made up is that profit loss area comes from the market makers or the person who's on the other side offering you whispering sweet nothings in your ear so you could maybe get out of a trade early and he could save a couple of bucks because they knew we're all greedy. But I'm going to play the numbers. The numbers looking pretty good for us, so we're going to stay with that. There's always a possibility it could lose in the very last couple minutes, but oh well. Great Britain Pound JPY. Great Britain Pound USD is a pair that does do all day. This is on a buy pattern with no buy signal. And USD CAD, USD CHF are not in that segment. Okay, so we basically got our numbers on for tonight. This is a pretty good. We got one trade on a possible. I don't know. That's Euro USD now. It looks like it's pulling away from the solution. So let's jump over to the 5-minute trade system. That's right. We're going to jump over to going over the 5 minutes. See if we can find anything in the next. I'd say 10 minutes. Do a couple of rounds to see if we can kind of get anything. Nothing's fired off in the segment, so we're going to hit the charts. Bada bing, bada boom. Audi USD on a buy pattern had a signal come up, but no signals since then. This one looks like it was a major winner there. That's pretty cool because you would have got bought into that. Euro JPY on the sell side looks like we got it pretty good. I would probably punch at this level here 117.22, but it's about 2 pips off. 117.22 on the sell. 117.24 would actually be 17.23 would probably do pretty good too. Let's look at that. And so are we going to come back on exhaustion on that though? There's a possibility you could get because you got 1, 2, 3, maybe you got a couple in there. Let's give that a shot on the 23. We're going to punch that with one contract and start our process going. We did get picked up on our Euro USD at the 0956 with our 2 contracts. So that's exciting too. $117.23 on our 5-minute trade. And we're probably going to break above that just a little bit. And there's the 23, which pushes our sell up. If it breaks over 50, we might look at taking a little bit. Sorry, I had to close my door there. Not well over 50 yet. If it shoots over 50, we might look at taking another buy or another sell side. We're sitting exactly on. Well, there we go. We just went over just a little bit and back down again. This is the part that becomes a little bit nerve-wracking. I don't mind watching them trade. I think if we get bought up, this Euro USD is a 100%er, so that means that it's not sitting on a choke up. So that's looking pretty good. That's a $44 trade there, looking pretty snazzy. We got about a minute and a half left on our 5-minute trade. Kind of just stay right there for a little bit. Knowing when to get in. We pack back over and look. We had some negation. We had some punch down. Remember I said it was going to come up a little bit, but probably end up heading back down south again. And being that we were using that mentality pretty quickly, it looked like we were able to do it. So we got just under a minute about to happen right now on our 117.23, sitting about a pip off. If we can do a little bit of a dive bomb here at that would be really, really super nice. Our USD JPY 107 trade is doing pretty good, holding off at 6 pips. So I'm digging that. We've got about 40 seconds left. We're coming down to the red zone on the Euro JPY 5-minute trade. We're looking pretty good. We just got to hold out long enough for it to be a little bit of a dancer, and we could probably make our money for the night here in just this 20-minute recording. So I'm digging that. About 20 seconds left. It should be super exciting for you too if you're watching this, because if I'm doing it and I've had the kind of day I've had, long day, sit down, follow the rules, do what you're supposed to do, and make it happen. 3 seconds left. 2, 1, and chicken dinner all around. Okay, that was a pretty good one. I dig that. We're going to pull off the 5 minutes for that Euro JPY has done us well. Thank you very much, Euro JPY. Let's go down the trick side again here. First off, let's go over and see. Nothing fired off on the chart, so we're going to go down and do TNT style. We do have a buy here on this one, but what I don't like here is that when we start going really super expansive and really start pushing it out, and you get super far away from this SMA here, and I usually say that if you see it breaking zones and it's got a really long, couple long bars to it, we're looking to come back to an area, right? We're looking to come back to this zone. So I'm not looking to do a buy on the Audi USD. Euro JPY, we just did Euro USD. We're going to have a look at nothing on the buy side. Great Britain Pound JPY. Nothing really. This would, was it Great Britain Pound JPY we just did? Yeah, I think so. Great Britain Pound USD. Nothing here. And again, because we pushed over and cycled over, I'm glad we didn't take anything on this side on that Great Britain Pound USD, because this would have been, quite frankly, a loss. Because again, big bars pushing away from the support or in the resistance area here of this SMA wouldn't have done as well. So keep that in mind. You want to see this nice, steady, slow walk start to happen, and as it starts to justify, you'll see these two start to come together a little bit. And it's at this level then when they start to come back together that these things start to break a little. Okay, so we got to look at, immediate crossovers with slow moving bars going up, big giant, responsive and impulse bars and movements like this may not seem like a lot. I mean, what's this, 22.18 to 22.21, only about 3 pips, but it's still pretty big in that 1 minute world. Okay, let's go down to USD CAD. Now again, a nice little slow walker heading down, sitting about a 30-degree angle. I think we would do pretty well because we're tight up, not super tight, but we're far enough away to maybe if we do get a little push back up to it, we will get bought. This one would have won. This one would have won. This one would have won. This one, I'm not too sure. If we would have came back here, it probably would have got bought up in the last couple minutes. But if we would have bought this one, we would have been staying up right around in this area to 33.20. This one would have won too. So you would have had 3 or 4 winners in this 20-30 minute period. USD JPY, nothing hanging on to us right now. USD JPY and Euro JPY, look at this correspondence between the two. They look almost identical, right? You got that push arrow with a couple vibrations there. You got a push arrow with a couple vibrations there. You see, there's a lot of correlation between the two. We'll go from there. But, we're not going to get into anything now. We only got about 2 minutes left for that. Let's go over and look at our trades. 0960, still sitting about 4 pips above. Still in the win column. 0694, sitting about 6 pips down on the win column. But look at the wild difference of maturity. USD on an 07 is only 6.5, 5.5 pips difference, but sitting at $18 profit. Now, 096 is only 4 pips above, and it's sitting at minus $7 in profit. So not a lot of money that we're talking about here, right? But either way. Okay, so we would have 44, so about 60, 70, 81, 50 would be our night tonight, plus our other trade that we just won. So about $100. That's what we're looking to possibly do tonight, is to do about $100 worth of trades. If we do, we do. I usually use a mentality of keeping the gut solid. If I have enough, I have enough. If I lose a trade, if I lose a 1 hour trade, it is what it is. I got about 2 hours a day that I can sit down and go through trades, sometime in the morning and sometime in the evening. And that's where you're at with me now, in the evening. So, nothing else really to do except for maybe in about a minute we'll run through the charts again. Keep in mind that this is never really about a gambling mentality of, if I lose one, I'm going to quadruple down on the next one because I can't lose 2 in a row. You can always lose 2 in a row. You can only lose 10 in a row. But I look for these, and this is why this is so beautiful, is that if you scan back just a little bit, it starts to unravel a story to you of massive movement but it's always coming back to that SMA because it's derived to do that. It's a simple moving average. So it's the overall moving average to the process. And as it starts to step down, you get these little recurrence negations. But once it really starts to pull away again, and you get that feel, the first arrow after that should be like your money arrow, right? The first real arrow after it starts to push to here, maybe not this one, but this one. This is the one that would have been like, I would have pulled back to this area and put 3 or 4 contracts on at this level, right? Because it's just starting to pull away, and we know it's got some time, right? We know it's got about 10, 15 bars to be able to get into that. About half of what the SMA is. So if it's a 50 SMA, about 25 bars, you got to that point. Now, I've seen this a lot, right? I've seen this mentality a lot in the up and the down, that you usually get about half of what the bars are for it to be able to do its thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And you can kind of see it starts to come back. And then it isolates for a little bit, and then it has another massive move, about 25, 30 bars. Now, on that increment of 25, 30 bars, here it is coming back again to it. Here it is coming back again to it. Here it is a little bit more with that one. There's about 30 bars into that one. But you can kind of see that that pace begins to structure. Another 30, 25 bar, boom, and then another big movement. And that's the USD JPY for you, especially at this time period. We get this pulse that you start to see. Like right now, if there was a signal firing off, there's a buy signal on this, and this wouldn't be something that I would get into. Let's go down the Aussie USD. Let's have a look at that. Another big, huge movement. Now, we also got some news firing off, I think, right at the moment. Yep, at 1930. So I'm not even going to trade now. In fact, I'm not even going to trade now, right? Because that Aussie USD will get wildly affected. If we look at that market value on that chart, look at that. That's huge. Hit 730 and was like, pshing, off you go. Now, if you were in for the buy here, you would have still, I don't think you would have won. Well, you would have had to come all the way back here to this point, but you wouldn't have gotten bought. You would have won this one, definitely. You would have won that one. You wouldn't even have gotten into that one. You probably wouldn't have gotten to this one because it was so far away, unless you came down to, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unless you came down to there, that might have been a loss at this level, but I probably would have stayed right around here at the top level. Excuse me. It's been a long day. All right. Euro JPY. Again, you don't see a lot of movement, but again, Great Britain Pound JPY. And we're heading back in up towards the SMA, so I'm going to let that clear up. Great Britain Pound USD. Again, no signal. USDJ or USD CAD. Now this slow walker here, that's really super like 20-degree angle. I probably wouldn't get into too many of them. I mean, if I get a sell and it's below here and it's starting to curl down a little bit, I might. USD JPY. Nothing there. All right. Well, I think, let me see if I can pull over my chart or there we go, pull that down and put that up. Also that, smack this on there so you can see that. This is my manual trading sheet for the last week and a half, or a little bit more than a week. And this is the Autobot that's trading for me as well. It's doing pretty well. Let's see here. Let me go to Nadex. I want to pull off that 1 5-minute trade that we won. I do this on all my trades. I calculate, what my winning percentages are and what my successes are. And I do this for a reason. I do this because I want to know how well I'm doing. Am I following the program? I write my rules down for this. Did I follow it? All that kind of good stuff. And I also track my successes, right? And I also tell people what my successes are. This is a pretty good trade. I'll be honest with you. This is a pretty good one. This Euro JPY sitting at 30.75. This could have been a 2 or 3 buttoner, but we're gonna in a minute go back in and look at the signals again. Not even going to touch the Audi USD, so we're going to sit at the Euro JPY. What we're looking for here, we got this nice push negation. So if an arrow comes up, we're probably going to hit the top of this at 23, at that 2-pip margin. There is the bell, but no signal for the Euro JPY. Euro USD, we would want to buy on that one. Great Britain Pound JPY. We want to sell on that one. Great Britain Pound USD. Nothing we'd want to sell, possible sell, but we did pull far away. So I see these two coming together and then probably heading off south again, but so I'll let it get a little closer. USD CAD. Slow walker breaks the chain, so I'm not really looking at that one for a little while. USD JPY, not so bad. Yep, no signal because we're coming back to here. These get a little bit closer and then give me a sell. I might get in. But let's look at that Audi USD for last because it's going to be, yep, that's what I thought. Look how much news bust your butt. Now, you could have, when it pushed past this at 7:30, been like, yeah, that's from here to here. Yeah, we had a possibility of just staying in a huge level, several down at that point. But I don't think you would have gotten into too much. They seem to, during the news, really pull back the spreads on the 5 minutes. Excuse me. All right, so we got about 24 minutes left on the signals. So what I'm going to do is wait one more segment of 5 minutes to see if I can get into anything else. I usually like to do 2 or 3 5-minute trades at night. If I can get onto the wins, then I'm really in it. That's something you have to ask yourself too, is like, how much is too much at any one point? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Be Back in a Moment screen up, which will have as you can kind of see here, it'll have this screen up here. Will sort of, so you can see that there's still trades moving on. It's still a live screen. And then I'll fast forward on this recording so you don't have to sit here and watch. If you want to sit and watch and hang out with me for the next 23 minutes. All right, everybody, I'm really sorry. I hit the Be Right Back screen, got mixed up when I went to come back in and thought that I had pushed the play button or the record button, but I hit the stop button. So I do apologize. And rather than try to set it all up again to do all that kind of stuff, but here's the results screen. You kind of see there's nothing on here right now because guess what? We won them all, which is really cool. So let me take you over to the screen here. This is the spreadsheet that I use when I calculate. I just pull straight from Nadex. I've done this 1,000 times, so you can kind of see. We can now. Here's what happened. The Euro USD ended up coming really close, within 3 pips. Got me a better price on that Euro USD. Now, this was 100% or sitting on a 1-hour trade system, so we knew that we could really rely on that process. Now, I wouldn't say bet the farm, but I'm going to be able to push the level because I looked at the charts. I validated the process by going to the TNT charts on the 1-hour signals, went to the Euro USD. I looked to see where we were sitting at that point of that level because we were on a buy. We had a nice strong buy signal and it was slowly creeping up. We had this nice gentle walking effect that happens and we were being pushed up against a support level. So I knew that these two would simply continue to cross into each other and just keep pushing that up, which just kind of held it really strong at that level, which I was really digging. So I decided to do the following. I bought another 2 contracts, which gave us 74.50 on that new one, which gave us an average of 76.25 on that per trade. So we ended up making $87 on that trade. Plus with the other 35, that brought us to a grand total of $122.50 on the 1 hours. Add in our 5-minute, and then we got $153 for the evening. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself, for about an hour's worth of work. Now, signals are popping up again. I don't think I'm going to go into it now because I'm a little bit tired and it's been a long day and my wife's yelling at me that I should come and watch some television and sit on the porch and watch the watch the moon rise. All right, so I'm going to go do that. You guys have a great evening. I really do appreciate you hanging out with me for this little bit of time. And I got to tell you, this is one of the best systems we have, having a little bit of automated system, a little bit of everything happening there. I'm Max Farrell. This is DexFXMarkets.com. I look forward to seeing you next time. And as always, trade well.